football in general comes down to discipline and people owning their roles. And when you aren't disciplined or you go outside the scheme, bad stuff happens. And we cannot have that. We need all 11 doing their damn job.
Hello and welcome to
Hey, we like your pod.
And we're going to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, joined by my trusted partner, Matt Pickett, as we await the Pro Bowl this weekend, coached by our favorite coach in the NFL. Who is that, Matt?
Oh, Matty LaFleur.
Matty LaFleur. So how was your week, Maddie? Are you going to watch the Pro Bowl since there are no NFL? And
No, I don't like the Pro Bowl at all. The first time I watched it was the last time I watched it, which was maybe 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago. Aaron Rodgers was actually there. He actually showed up to it instead of just like piecing out like he usually does. So I was like, well, this will be fun to watch Aaron Rodgers like with a bunch of like really good players. And of course it's not a real football game. They're not trying to, be fast or hit hard or anything. I feel like there's always a person or two who is, and it's like, whoa, read the room. Like, we're not trying to get injured here. We're trying to have a vacation.
Right.
Just kind of throw the ball around a little bit. Like, just let's take it easy. So no, I think it's boring. So I don't watch it. I think it's fun that they're having, LaFleur be one of the coaches or whatever, that's fun. But no, he said like we're awaiting the Pro Bowl. I'm like, I myself am not. I will not be watching it.
What else
do you like watching it though? I mean, do you like watching it?
Well, I watched a little last year because Z was there. And he's, I also watched some of the combine-like activities that they had, a little bit of competition.
Those competition. Those are fun, I will say, yeah.
And this year I was a little more interested in, because my sister Lori said, hey, let's go. Because it's just Vegas is like a 6-hour drive from here. And I can't because of my health, and because Matt is actually the whole staff is down there coaching, right?
That's the whole staff. I wasn't sure. Yeah. And Justin Herbert is throwing. I guess Wigglebutt is also throwing. What's his name? When you say Wigglebutt, I just think of Corey Bajorquez.
Oh yes, he's got a good wiggle butt too.
He does every time, a little butt wiggle, and then
I love that. No, his is much better. I'm the one that you know how a cat looks like when they walk away from you because they've got like furry thighs.
So it's a good audio podcast, and we're doing a catwalk for those who aren't watching the video.
Use your imagination and let us know which quarterback you think we might be talking about. We won't name names here. Yeah, so I was just a little interested in it for that reason, and it would have been fun to see Lori and just do something because I've been trapped at home for 2 years.
There's that.
And but we didn't think of it until the last minute. And even if we had gotten tickets and everything with what happened this week, I would have been probably not able to go anyway. So.
Yeah.
Ooh, so how's it there in Cincinnati today?
Big ice storm. Everything's closed. Haven't been out of the house all day.
Wow.
It's like a sheet of ice covering everything, and then it's snowing on top of that. So that means my wife almost never works from home, even though she could kind of whenever she wanted to. So she was working from home. The kids, I was worried they'd have like a remote instruction day, which they could technically do, but instead they said, no, it's a snow day, and they already called off tomorrow. UC is already closed for tomorrow, so it's gonna be the same kind of routine tomorrow because I can work from home remotely and actually do on Thursdays and Fridays. There's still an expectation that I'll do what I can do, which is actually like everything I would be doing. But a lot of the students are like, oh yeah, I didn't think we were going to meet because the university's closed. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of relaxed. It's kind of weird, but it's fine. It's fine. And as long as, I stay inside, I'll be safe. I do worry about like, the vulnerable populations around, homeless folks, stuff like that. I worry about them, but at least all I can say is for myself, staying safe. So how about you, Dawn?
Yeah. Well, pretty much laid up over here. Can't complain about the weather.
Right.
Somebody told me to cover up my orchids a couple nights ago because it was going to get cold, and I did, and it was like, I think it got to be about 49, which is cold for us at night.
Sure.
But I think my orchids could have handled it.
Yeah.
We get overreactions over here. I think a couple of weekends ago, I don't know if I told you, we had a tsunami warning. That was kind of interesting. We had another earthquake, nothing big. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was standing in the kitchen a couple of mornings ago, and I thought the ice maker was just making ice. The cat kind of looked at me, and I looked at the cat, and the ice was going down, and I was like, what's wrong with the freezer? It was an earthquake. It was like shaking up the freezer. So, but nothing serious. Everything's good over here. So you're not interested in the Pro Bowl. So
personally, no.
The next football thing you're looking forward to will be the Super Bowl, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm so happy that my second team, the Bengals, inexplicably made it to the Super Bowl in, the third year of their rebuild, really the second year, because, this is just their second year with the fresh quarterback.
Right.
I'm over the moon, and to see all of the the family that I'm married into, of course, as I mentioned before, is a Bengals family. My wife's family is largely like here in Cincinnati. So just to see how excited they are, and, having suffered for so long as Bengals fans, it's been really cool. So like just being around the city, like there's just a lot of people wearing a lot of Bengals stuff, much more so than usual. And I mean, on a given day, you could walk to the grocery store or like go to the grocery store and you'd see somebody wearing like a Bengals thing, like any day throughout the whole year. But right now it's like, it's in full force. And like my kids, school district called off school for the day after the Super Bowl. Just everyone's like full on Who Day mode. And
that's great.
It's great. It's really cool to see it. So just, people brought together through football and, pride in their team. So I love it.
That's awesome. And so your little girls have little tiger outfits?
They have Packer shirts.
Okay, you didn't go that far.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if their grandpa like goes in on that or something like that. But no, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we're still wearing Packers gear. So
okay.
I'll still wear a Packers shirt when I watch the Super Bowl. But yeah. No, they would wear that though. They would, especially if their grandpa, did that. They love their grandpa a lot. So he's a good guy.
For sure. And it's cute dressing little kids up like animals. and your dogs and cats too.
I was thinking that. And dogs.
Not all the time. I mean, if it bothers them, it's not cute. But if they don't mind,
right. Then it's
now my cat is already a tiger, so I would just have to like make her a little more orange. Mm-hmm. I could do that with a camera filter. I wouldn't actually dye her hair orange.
Hilarious if you did. Yeah, don't do that.
No. So yes, so she's good. So yeah, Super Bowl around the corner. Mm-hmm. I've already got myself like, I'm in total off-season mode already. Next.
So when you say for you, what does off-season mode look like?
It looks like looking at the cap, looking at the team, the deficiencies where we went wrong. Mm-hmm. What we might want to draft for, it's a big guess. If I were the general manager, looking forward to a mock draft.
Ooh.
Yeah. And we'll have some news about that coming up soon enough. Let's see. But we got to get through Super Bowl first. So that kind of thing. And then of course summer happens. And then the next thing you know, it's preseason in August and we're watching Jordan Love play again.
At least in the preseason. We'll see what happens.
Not saying anything about the other.
Who knows?
Yeah. And I wouldn't say anything about last season either. I mean, I refuse to speculate on that matter.
Well, it's like after last season being so tumultuous and such a drama fest for months.
Yeah.
This offseason ready to be just like, instead of riding the waves up and down, I'm just gonna be like, just keep it even. Just gonna like let what happens happen, not let it get to me too much. In the end, I believe in the front office. They've shown, I think, more than enough times that we can trust that they're going to make really good decisions for the best of the team. Mm-hmm. And I think they know their stuff way more than anybody I know does, anybody on Twitter does, anybody. So like there will always be clickbait. There will always be people trying to like make stories out of nothing, like Rodgers buying land in Tennessee or some nonsense. Whatever that was about, so or it's just like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna tune that all out. Like I might laugh at it, but I'm not gonna let it like get me up or down or whatever. I'm just gonna like wait and see what happens.
Yeah, don't know, don't care until it's reality.
Reality.
Yeah, so I think the Pro Bowl will be a little entertaining. I guess that's Sunday, not Saturday, right? So I
don't even know, actually. Probably Sunday. I don't know.
I think it's Sunday. I went to look to see what teams, who they had on each team. I just wanted to look.
Oh yeah.
Players. And I saw the article where they had picked the teams, but it didn't really it wasn't clear to me what the teams were, but I don't know. I mean, they just listed 3 quarterbacks and, a number of all the other players, but I don't know who's playing where, unless they're going to just mix it up all day. Change it. That'd be kind of funny. Like have the team change every quarter. That'd be kind of hard to coach, but
yeah, but with the goal of winning it, doesn't matter who wins it.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not a bit. I guess just because we've been watching football every week, it feels kind of weird not to have something to watch.
Yeah,
but yeah.
No, I agree with you on that. Definitely, that's going to be strange not watching football. But on the other hand, they give me more time to get things done that I need to get done, like the dumb weekend things, but then also, of course, more time to play with my kids, which is wonderful. So that.
Yeah, for sure. And are you going to go to a family Super Bowl party then with your family?
Yeah. So the Gramps, again, this is my father-in-law. He is one of the biggest Bengals fans I've ever known, and he's actually he and my mother-in-law have a condo in Florida. They're snowbirds, and they do come back up usually for the Super Bowl, though. So this time he's having like all of us over, big party, go all out. I think it's going to be probably pretty big deal. So I'm excited about that. And I was like, we'll be able to go to part of it. We'll have to go home to get the kids in bed. But then with the school district calling off for the next day, it's like, no, we can stay for the whole thing, and the kids can go to bed super late and like sleep in the morning. It's gonna be beautiful. I already had taken the day off of work like months ago, so
good.
Ready for it totally.
Thinking the Packers.
Yeah, well, that was my hope at the time.
Yeah, I really thought we were going to be able to get there, but oh well.
Do you have plans for watching the Super Bowl? Everything kind of lined up?
There's a couple of outdoor places here in the village where I could go if I feel like it. Depends on how this whole spinal situation that I'm going through right now works out, but and then I got a little tidbit in my ear about an opportunity to actually go to the game, a different one than the one I had, which would be a big deal. But I don't know if that'll come to fruition. I was actually looking at Airbnbs in that area today, just in case. There's still stuff available. Like you can walk to the SoFi Stadium. And,
wow, that'd be awesome.
I know, but it's kind of nerve wracking with this virus, with this pandemic and all that. But I think it'd be. I do know they're not. I read about it. They're not. You have to be vaccinated and boosted to be allowed to go in. You have to. Yeah.
Frankly,
there's that. Yeah. And masked, and they will enforce it. So
yeah, I mean, as well they should. This is a mass public gathering. You don't need like a huge outbreak happening there.
So yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I'm not, if something comes my way, I just have to feel well enough. My health is number one. It'd be kind of cool. I love that stadium. I've been dying to see the stadium, and I thought, well, that'd be kind of a cool first time seeing the stadium. But I can see the stadium anyway. So there's that. Otherwise, one of the outdoor places, there's places actually walking distance, pop on the train distance, so I don't have to drive. Or one of my friends will have a party, or all of the above. There'll be plenty to do on Super Bowl Sunday, I'm sure. Honestly, if I feel crummy, I'll just stay at home and watch it by myself, or with a neighbor. Something like that.
And that's not such a bad thing anyhow,
Yeah, I'm excited for the Bengals. I'm excited for, wanted the Bills in there. I really did, but I'm excited for the Bengals, and I just forgot the Rams. And because it's the NFC and it's Southern California, most people out here will be cheering for the Rams.
Do you think so, though? I feel like I've heard so many times that the Rams do not have a very big fan base in LA. Like, people just aren't as interested in them. So, I mean, I wonder.
Yeah, it's not a Rams thing. It's a football thing in general. That's why the San Diego Chargers moved to LA, because they weren't able to sell enough tickets to sustain. And so they sold it. So they sold it to another Southern California city now that has two, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
No, it doesn't.
And now they're building that. I thought they were going to share that stadium. Now they're building their own stadium. So who knows? I don't think it's about the Rams as much as it's just a Southern California thing. It's just not a heavy football, although a lot of people aren't from here that live here. A lot of transplants. So, So I don't know. It's probably going to be half and half. But I think if people are casual football watchers and they only watch the Super Bowl and they're watching in Southern California, they're going to cheer for the Rams.
That makes sense.
What it. Yeah, kind of just incidentally.
All right.
Right. So yeah, I'm excited about the one thing I would have liked to seen in person for the Pro Bowl, if I would have gone, would to see Justin Herbert in person playing.
I know you love Justin Herbert.
Oh,
he's your favorite.
He's my favorite. I do. I will not deny it. No, I think he's just so good, and but I'll see him soon enough.
Yeah,
plays for the Chargers. So
I've got to admit, Dawn, your love for Justin Herbert has kind of because of it, I have watched the Chargers more this season, kind of like see what they're doing and like kind of see what an amazing quarterback he is, because he really is. It's very, very impressive. So yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. And
I was kind of just a casual Chargers fan because of my friends that were born and raised here all love the Chargers, and they still do, even though they're in LA. And I just happened to be watching that game when Justin got thrown into the game and got like 50 seconds notice. And I was watching and I was like, and I just thought, man, that kid's together, and I don't know that much about football, as I always say. And the announcers were saying it and he got awards for it and everything. So what I saw was validated. I felt validated. And, he's just really cool. He's a cool guy. He's got an advanced degree in some kind of crazy chemical sciences and
like engineering or something. What is it?
It's a science. It's science, but I don't think it's engineering.
We can look it up later.
Yeah. It's real wonky. That's for sure. So let's get to some superlatives.
Yeah.
Daddy, bring some superlatives for us for the week.
Oh, most definitely. Excuse me. So this week, my first one to wonder if this is a word, funnest retrospective was one that our pal Daire Carragher wrote for Packer Report. The thing that's fun about it is that he was looking at the season, like the top 5 individual performances from the season. And so by having that focus on the really good stuff from the individual contributors, it makes you think of some of those really great moments, those great plays, those great games that, like, the things you remember from a really fun game. So I don't want to give away like all 5 of them. I think it's worth going to find the article. Again, it's one of those Pack Report. You have to have a subscription, but it's worth actually, patronizing. That's very cheap to join. And they do really good work. So it's definitely worth putting a little money into. But suffice to say, especially if people like Daire who write for them, he's such a good writer. So, it was a really fun article. It just made me kind of like smile, in a time when we just wish the Packers were still playing, and it's kind of a bummer. It's like, oh yeah, this was nice. Because when the season ends the way it did, it's hard for it not to leave a little bit of, a bitter taste in the mouth. So things like this help you remember it, like everything that came before that bad ending. Yeah. So it was a fun article.
That. Yeah, I like that. Bring back some of those memories. Yeah, because that's important. It just felt like a clunk. Like you're driving down the car, driving down the street in your car, and like the bottom just fell out, and you're like, well, we're not driving anymore.
Yeah.
You know? Like
exactly. You're just like, why did this happen? I don't understand.
What happened?
You forget about all the fun time you had driving up until then.
That's right. I like it.
So it's a good retrospective on the fun parts of the season, some of the best parts, some of the best moments. My next one was best podcast guest. This was actually really hard because there were a lot of really good podcast guests this last week. Some sort of like runners up would definitely include Sam Holman and Coach Han on last Saturday's Packernet podcast. Our buddy Dusty Evely was also on the Packernet podcast during the week. That was a really great episode. That was really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to give it this time to Sam, known as @Samwich on Twitter. She guested on 4 Downs with friend of the show, Aaron Ellis and Monty Moore. I'm sure we've talked about their podcast before. I love it. It's a great podcast. They have such good chemistry. So then with Sam in the mix there too, it was like they were old friends just talking is what it was like. There's really great chemistry. I was saying to Dawn, I was saying to you before the show, I think they should have Sam just like join them all the time because it was that good. So huge shout out to Sam. The show was fun to listen to. The 3 guys were funny. There was a good amount of catharsis kind of talking through the stuff from the end of the season. A lot of really insightful takes. It was everything you want in a podcast. It was great. Did you hear that one, Dawn?
I did not catch that one, but I will. I definitely will.
4 Downs is one of the other podcasts that comes out on Saturdays. So
yeah. That's probably why, because by Saturday I'm like, I listen to ours though. I always have to listen to ours because I have to have reassurance that everything went properly. Even though I preview it, it's like I got to listen just to make sure I didn't goof anything up because there's still a chance to fix it if I have.
So one last thing before we move on to the next one then about Sam. Again, that's @Samwich, 2 M's, 2 H's on Twitter. She's a really good person to follow if you're hearing this and you're not following Samwich yet. She's hilarious. Like at least once a week, she'll post something that like makes me laugh out loud.
Belly laugh.
Really, she's very funny. So check her out. The last one I have then is Best Wisdom. This goes to Ryan Schlipp from the Packernet podcast. His episode from January 31st, which I guess would have been Sunday. So as I say, it was an episode where he was talking about like it's okay to enjoy the off season. It's okay to look forward to, what's coming, to get really excited about like, imagining certain players from the draft ending up with the Packers, getting excited about that. It's okay to just kind of move forward and get excited about what's coming up ahead of us. And, it's just, we're all going through that process. We're all at various points in the process, like we talked about last week of, the grieving, the moving on from the end of the season. And that was one of those moments listening to that podcast. I think it was Sunday. That was like, it helped me to move that next step forward that I needed, that like extra just push of like, it's going to be okay. It's good. Get excited. So I like that one a lot. It's a good one.
Good.
And I think was that the day when he also got his new gear and he was testing out like the buttons and stuff. So remember I saw you comment on that. Like, so there was like this wisdom, there was like this silliness, and there was like all this stuff happening together. It was really great.
It was. I think that was his first one after, I think it was Sunday. And he was, as always, brutally honest. Mm-hmm. And I felt good about that too, because I felt like I was moving on and kind of at the same level he was. And so I didn't feel like you never really should compare how you're dealing with something if it takes you longer or if you're ahead of, mm-hmm. We just all deal with things the way we deal with things. And it also maybe has to do with other things going on in our life or whatever. And we might think we dealt with something and then I could maybe in July just all of a sudden have a fit about how they lost. Be like,
absolutely.
There goes my anger, because I might have missed out on expressing that or whatever. So it's all good. In other words, we're all at different levels and we all got to do what we got to do.
And it's not even a linear path anyhow. We can move back and forth through like the different stages of grief and whatever else. Mm-hmm. So it's a very personal thing. Absolutely.
For sure.
So those are my 3. What do you got, Dawn?
I like them. I like them. And as always, they will be in our show notes for our listeners, or if you're watching on video, they'll be under the description of the show. So you can click on to listen to what we're talking about, because that's why we're here. Longest overdue is Brian Flores suing the NFL and also shedding light on some shady backdoor dealings in the NFL, at the NFL.
Big time.
It's a class action lawsuit, which is interesting. It's not just him. He's opening it up to others who might have had experiences. But there's some whistleblowing elements to it also, which is kind of odd, from a legal standpoint. So it's interesting how he put all that in the legal document. And I heard that, or I read it, whatever. And then I happened to follow a YouTuber lawyer called The Lawyer You Know. And all of a sudden I noticed he covered it. And so I listened to what he said about it, and he broke it down too, as to, that was a little bit unusual and why he may have done it and that type of thing. But because it almost sounded like you could have read that document and thought, this is just, it's not going to go anywhere. He just wanted to get it all out. Mm-hmm. It's not truly a lawsuit, but it actually really is a lawsuit. But so I don't know how they're going to sift through that in the legal courts and all of that, but long overdue though.
Yeah. And
it included charges. I don't know how much anyone's interested in this, but charges of offering to pay Coach Flores $100,000 to tank per game to tank. Yeah. Which is our worst nightmares as to game fixing. And of course, you touched on that in this podcast before. Yes.
Makes you think like maybe this isn't a tin hat I'm wearing. Maybe there's some truth to some of the conspiracy theories.
And there was also something, and I don't know if it was in that document or somebody who spoke about it, but about players. He said he wouldn't. And then so they would, we'll just offer it to the players then.
Oh, I didn't hear that detail. Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of discussion. So,
jeez.
It makes you wonder.
Mm-hmm.
And so, not for that reason, but actually going back a little bit here, I titled this week's show, When You Wonder If You Drunk the Kool-Aid. And actually, I titled this show that because of... for different reasons, which I'll go into just a tiny bit, but it's the Kool-Aid comment more comes from being blind fans of your team and your team only, and no team is as good as yours, and blah, 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 and then you lose, and it's like, oh wait, maybe we're just not looking at the rest of the league. There are other good teams out there and other good coaches and whatnot, but also drinking the Kool-Aid as to, you mentioned the tin hat, because a lot of times when I've said a few things here and there about, I wonder if these games are fixed, I've heard very famous commentators say, oh, no, that couldn't possibly be the integrity of the game. The players would never go for that and all this. And it's like, well, here we go. And the thing is, gamblers will never go for it. Like, they need to know that it's not being fixed too, because they're putting money on something. And so, it's got to get sorted out, and it's just ugly. But it's interesting, and I'm glad there's a lawsuit. So that's why I said longest overdue on that one. So, and something that came up through that, just by the way, 70% of the NFL players are Black, African-American, only one Black head coach.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Sad. I mean, we all know this, but it's worth repeating enough and over again, I think, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So all of these superlatives have to do with equity. So it's a week of equity for me.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your next one? Yeah.
My next one is Most Special Day. And that was a couple of days ago, National Women and Girls in Sports Day. And all you have to do is look up the hashtag National Women and Girls in Sports Day and follow all those girls and ladies that you want. And because they were called out mostly by male supporters. And I really think that's lovely. Of course, women calling out women is great too, but it's really nice. It was really nice for myself to be called out. Little Minnie Mouse here doing nothing. It was so sweet. And so if you haven't, if you didn't know, if you missed that date, it's okay because it's Twitter and you can just look up the hashtag and you can read all the lovely things about all the women and girls in sports. Also with the Olympics going on and all that, this is just, great week for, paying extra attention to anyone, the Paralympics, just people with disabilities, competing women, all that. So it's all about equity this week. And so that was my second superlative. And most touching, this is loosely about equity, but most touching. And I can't remember exactly why I picked this. It'll come back to me. But it's Shannon Sharpe's interview of his brother Sterling Sharpe. And I might have mentioned this once before here, but Shannon Sharpe has a YouTube channel and he calls it Club Shay. And I started following it right away because he's a very different person on that YouTube channel. He's himself. He does it, I think, from his home. And
really? Okay, yeah, I'm intrigued because definitely in his primary platform, he's definitely a character. Like Skip Bayless. They're characters.
Yes. But, different, but yes. They're both characters.
Yeah. Yes.
But But I appreciate how he keeps skipping line a little bit, but I can't watch that show very much, to tell you the truth. That one I have a hard time. But I do love Shannon Sharpe and respect him. And in that first interview on Club Shay, it was Sterling Sharpe, and it calls my attention to the NFL's strange rules about getting into the Hall of Fame. And some of the inequities there. And I know that there's still a lot of people saying Sterling Sharpe should be in the Hall of Fame. And I don't know that they talked about it. I can't remember because I watched it a long time ago, but I know that in that interview, they revealed that when Sterling told Shannon that he was injured and he would never play football again, that Shannon just broke down and cried because he knew how much it meant to him. Those two brothers, they talk about their childhood, the way they grew up, their grandparents that they have so much love for. It's just really, they bring you right there with them. You can just see it. You can see the little house. You can see the mud. You can see them out picking. What were they picking? Cotton. In the South, it would have been cotton, like early in the morning before going to school. Can you imagine having to do that? We're so spoiled. Like I couldn't even get up at 9. No.
That sounds awful.
My mom couldn't even get me out of the dressed and out at 9 for our little private schools or parochial school we went to. So anyway, those are my 3 week of equity superlatives.
I love the theme on that, Dawn. That's so good.
Thanks. It just kind of came together. I mean, I put those together and I was like, I guess I got a theme this week. So yeah. And of course those links will also be in our show notes. So yeah, I think it's very important. And I think it's really important for me, at least, I'm not going to tell you all what to do, but it's important for me to keep tabs a little bit on the legalities of what's going on in equity. And that comes down to laws and rules. And so, because if you want fairness and truth and transparency, there's always going to be an element of just money interest who want to hide those things from
absolutely
to make more money. So I'm trying to be extremely vague here by saying what as little as I can and as most as I can without saying too much. But yeah, so I think for me, I'm interested in those types of things. So yeah. So an other thing I'm going to say, not a superlative, but we do have some really great guests signed up in the off season after
Very excited.
Super Bowl. Yeah, we have a lot of great guests. So we will be continuing on with Hey, We Like Your Pod. So stay tuned in because I think you're going to really enjoy the off season with us.
We're going to keep on rolling.
Gonna keep on rolling and rocking. And I'm going to start doing research on college players like next week.
Oh, wow. Just get into it. I love that.
Well, yeah, because that way I won't feel like, oh my God, because I felt like when I did it last time, I just jumped in and we had whatever, a few days to do it.
Like
whenever your number comes up. And I was like, oh, I got to read all this. And I did like an all-nighter trying to.
I remember when we were doing that mock draft, I was like standing in line at the grocery store, like trying to look up like the best tight ends or something like that, like furiously scrolling on my phone. Yeah, I should do a little bit of advanced work on that too. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, we should. Will we? Maybe.
Maybe.
We should. Kind of like, should we do those dishes in the sink? Maybe. So any final thoughts before we go to the big Pro Bowl?
The big Pro Bowl. Get excited. Final thoughts. I think now.
I know, right? It's so boring.
Right? I know.
Well, I had a funky dream. This is the second time I had a dream at that stadium where I was going to a Packers game. Mm-hmm. My sister and mother were seated in a different area.
Because they didn't want to sit by you and your date, Bill Belichick.
This time I had a date, and it was Bill Belichick. For God's sake!
Was he wearing a cutoff hoodie?
God! But I want to say, yeah. In the dream, he was quite nice, and he wasn't dressed like that. And I was just like, "Wow!"
I could see him like showing emotion. I could imagine that he does that in his off hours. He could be a perfectly nice person. I don't know.
I've heard he doesn't have off hours, that he sleeps like in his sweatpants, then he wears them the next day and he sleeps in the office and he's cool. But all I want to say is he wasn't gross in my dream. And I was just sitting there like, we're going to watch the game. And I'm like, why am I with Bill Belichick? In the dream, mm-hmm. I was like, not after the dream. When I woke up, I was just like, and then my brother came and was talking to my sister, mm-hmm. and they were a little farther away, but maybe we were texting somehow we could talk to each other. I don't know.
It was a dream, so weird things.
And my brother's like, why is she with Bill Belichick? Jeez. and then I was like, oh, Rory knows I'm with Bill Belichick. And then I woke up and I was like, okay. And it's this different kind of stadium. It's the second time I've had this dream that we went to a Packer game and we were seated. The last time I had the dream, I probably didn't talk about it here, but I told my mother and my sister about it. We were like both on the 50-yard line across from one another. Mm-hmm. And we were like, oh, and saw each other at the mm-hmm. game. It was like that. But this time we're like, we knew we were going to be sitting and blah, blah. No idea. Maybe I have no idea. I had that dream. It was weird. And then what was it? This week was the first Wordle I had on the first guess.
That was amazing.
That was a good week. That was mm-hmm. a good week. That was just dumb. That was so dumb. It was boring because, and the funny thing is, because Bill said it comes on at midnight, the mm-hmm. word. Mm-hmm. And I was up late that night. I was having these issues and I just couldn't get comfortable. And it said 12 o'clock on my computer, and I was just about to turn it off, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna just put my first word in and then close it, because a lot of times that's what I do. Mm-hmm. Not a lot, but if it's difficult, I'll just close it and walk away. So, and I knew I had a lot to do the next day, so I put my word in. So I looked at it, said 0000, and then so I did the refresh, and mm-hmm. it gave me the screen, and I put the word in, and it was like, what? Gonna do? I gotta wait 24 hours for another word. I don't even know what the word was, but I was like, the it's almost like what are those slot machines in Las Vegas when they come down? It's like green, 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 green. I was like,
it does go left, right, one letter at a time. That's right. It's true.
So that was kind of weird. Anywho, sorry, low flying plane. Can you hear it?
I could just for a second.
My windows are anyway. So that was my big week.
So that was my big week. That's a great culminating sentence. Way to conclude it. Awesome. Well, all right, Dawn. Where can people find us on the socials?
Where are we?
Where are we? What is happening?
We are. You can follow us on Instagram, on Twitter. Oops, I still have last week's.
I was going to say.
You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at Hey Willip. That's HEYWLYP at HEYWLYP. Hey, we like your pod. That's our initials. If you didn't figure it out. And I myself, I'm in all the same places, and I'm Dawn Dacquisto, DAWN, And Maddie, where can we find you?
I'm at Matt Trombone on Twitter. That's 3 T's in the middle. Friends, please subscribe, rate, and share. Hey, we like your pod wherever you listen. It helps us grow our audience and keep spreading the love.
And we love spreading love and equity.
Yes.
It really does help us, and we appreciate you all joining us here. We're both so glad to know you, to be fans of you, and to have the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL. I almost made a smart aleck remark there. I almost tried to stick to the script. The most storied team in the NFL, and we appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod. And we look forward to seeing you next week on
Hey, we like your pod. Yeah. Hooday.